Hey, Christian here, founder of Second Life Coaching and host of the Hot Mess Express podcast. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about grace and parenting. And my wife and I were talking about this morning. We were watching Oprah's Super Soul Sessions, and there was a woman that was talking about parenting and teaching, the enlightened parent and the enlightened child. And man, I desperately need a haircut. And it got us talking a little bit about how grace in parenting is something that is difficult. It's a difficult thing to get to. As parents, we're expected to, and we do, extend grace to our kids when they make mistakes, when they do things unintentionally, when they're learning as a person how to get around in the world. We extend grace and understand that they're doing the best that they can with what they've got. And if we find a deficiency, I guess you could call it, a hole in their knowledge, a hole in their wisdom, we do our best as parents to fill that, to teach them and explain to them, why it was a mistake, what the expectations are, and what have you. Now, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s, and growing up, there was pretty much Dr. Spock and nothing else. And as society has grown and moved on over the last 30 years, we've learned a lot more about societal development, about childhood development, and all that good stuff. I'm sitting outside, so it's kind of nice and warm outside. And so the difficulty is, with all this information, it can leave us as parents kind of overwhelmed and confused. We've learned that, we knew when we were kids that every one of us was kind of different. We all learned in different ways. We all had our different hopes and dreams, and the things we liked and the things we didn't disliked. Yet, as far as parenting styles, all of our parents pretty much had the same rules. They had the same styles. They had the same expectations, the same consequences, and it didn't always generate the same results. But now that we know so much more, and we have so much more knowledge about everything, it makes parenting that much more difficult. There's no, it's already hard enough because there's no guide, there's no, instruction book on how to raise a healthy, well-adjusted child from, birth to the time they leave the house to be an adult. And with all this information, it makes it even that much more difficult, because there becomes a lot of tension between siblings, between parents and children, when they see that one child is parented differently than another child. They believe things are not fair. They wonder why they're not treated the same way as the other child is, and they think that, they develop a sense that they favor. There's a sense of favoritism between parents and child, and that's not what we as parents intend to do. We seek to raise each of our kids in a way that they'll respond to, that they'll grow up healthy, happy, and well-adjusted. Now, I'll tell a little story. When I was growing up, my second grade teacher didn't believe there was such a thing as a gifted child. I was one of those smart kids in school that ruined the bell curve for everybody. And I remember coming up to the end of second grade, and there was a discussion of being double promoted, being skipped from second to fourth grade. And I remember sitting in the principal's office as we were discussing this, and the decision was made to go for it. The principal looked and told me that if I got anything less than C's on my report card, they would send me back to third grade. Now, that's a hell of a lot of pressure to put on a 7-year-old. And it's something that I carried with me for a long time, and for a long time I actually held it against my parents that they put those expectations on me. And it took me a long time to realize that while yes, there was those expectations of getting good grades because I had the potential and I had the ability, a lot of the expectations that were on me were placed on me by myself. I exaggerated the importance of a lot of things that I was expected to do. And so when I was raising my kids, it was important to me for them to realize that it wasn't about grades with them, that it was about effort, that as long as they did the best that they can, it didn't matter what the end result was, that it was about effort. Because if you do your best and you're still struggling, we can get you help. And it's something I've always told them. And if they don't do their best and they're struggling, well, then there's going to be consequences. Now, how that was received wasn't always the case. It wasn't received as clearly as I thought I was communicating it to them. And that's on me. Now, how this extends to grace is that as parents, we do the best we can with the tools that we have. Hopefully, as parents, we continue to learn, we continue to grow, we continue to refine our parenting skills and our parenting styles to be more effective, well-rounded parents, so that our kids can grow up to be well-rounded adults. And the hope is that, the challenge is that the grace that we extend to our kids for making mistakes, for doing the best that they can with what they got, for helping to, the holes in their personalities and their knowledges that they don't have simply because they're young, isn't always extended to parents. And that is, I think, a fault of, I don't want to say fault, but I want to say one of the leading challenges, one of the leading causes of estranged relationships between parents and kids. It comes to a point where kids see things on TV, through friends, through other families, through other family members, through social media, how they believe parents are supposed to be. And they place those expectations upon their parents, and when they don't respond the way their expectations are, then those parents become bad parents. They become, parents that don't care, don't love, don't necessarily, that kind of suck. And it leads to a lot of resentment between parent and child, because the child, although they have the knowledge, the information, the stimulus from outside influences on how they think parents should respond, they don't have the wisdom, which is only knowledge tempered by experience, to understand that parents are really doing the best that they can. And so that, I think, is one of the leading challenges I have between, my kids and I, is their expectation of what I was supposed to do. I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with my kids where one of them has said, well, you're the parent, you're supposed to know, you're supposed to do this. That's all well and good, but sometimes I didn't. And that's something that's on me. That's where I need to learn and grow and gain wisdom and experience, knowledge and experience and wisdom as a parent. And it's not a realistic view of the world, nor a realistic view of a parent-child relationship. So, what the cure is, I couldn't tell you. Perhaps time, perhaps, experience. Maybe when they have their own kids, they'll understand the difficulties, how difficult it is to be a parent, how each child is different. And, I remember talking with my parents, talking about the difficulties I had with my daughters in doing their best in school. And my folks said, well, what would have worked with you? And to be perfectly honest, I still don't know. I still don't know what have motivated me to work harder, to be better. I think there's that lack of, the lack of long-term thinking that children inherently have, that impairs them from seeing long-term the consequences of their decisions and their actions. And I guess my best advice to you is to not let it get you down, to continue to seek out counsel and advice from, whether it's from watching videos like this, or from books, or from parenting support groups online or in person, from friends that you trust who are having similar challenges, and just continue to grow as a parent. Do the best you can. Let them know you love them. let them know you care for them, and really that's all you can do. So if you're having similar challenges like this, I would love to hear from you. I think a community support in things like this is essential. And I think speaking out and helping you understand that you're not alone, that I'm not alone in this. I'd love to hear your story down here in the bottom on the comment section. And perhaps somehow we can find a way to get through this together. So, that's going to be it. This is the second shot. The first one, I had the thing in the earphone jack and had no sound, so it's all a learning experience from here. So, have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon. All right? Peace out.